Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of Silver Screen Society.
Round of applause. Come on, man. We have to do that.
I am your host. I'm Ore. Anytime you come here to an episode of Silver Screen Society, you should be expecting big conversations about TV, film, and all of that good stuff. Got two guests with me today. They want to introduce themselves? We'll go start with Gaz.
Gaz. I'm Gaz. Don't know what to say, man. I love film and TV. I guess that's why I'm here. I'm excited to chop it up with you guys
today. Shemi, Oluwashemi Lore Kante's cousin. I have so many names, but yeah, Shemi. Just call me Shemi. I love TV more than film, but yeah, let's kick off.
Okay, cool. A little bit of an icebreaker before we get into the main topic of the show. I'm going to ask you guys for your unpopular opinion about TV.
Cool. Okay.
So we'll start with you guys. What's your unpopular opinion about TV?
All right, so this gets me roasted like with my friends.
Okay.
And I get the hype behind this show. Like I've tried to watch it a few times, struggled, but then I said, no, people love this show for a particular reason. So I started watching. It's The Office, right? The US version.
Okay.
Like, I think it's overrated personally.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's overrated personally. Like I think it's funny.
Is that specifically the US Office, like the UK?
I haven't seen the UK one.
Oh, okay, but so the US Office.
So the US one was the one that everyone sold to.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. It's funny, but I think it's overrated, man. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as people make it out to be. I don't think it's as funny. It has funny moments though. And I hate the Pam and Jim relationship. Can't stand it.
Okay.
Can't stand it. Can't stand it.
Okay, highly controversial. Shemi, do you want to go with yours?
Mine is like, it's not specific to a show, but like, I hate when like people, basically when things are filmed, like you pick the villain and you pick the hero, but I never did, like I pick them myself. Like, so do you get what I mean? So I'll watch it and I'll be like, this person's actually not a bad guy. The hero is the annoying person more often than not. So maybe I'm just a villain.
Or in real life.
Yeah, maybe, because like there's many examples. The people, when you actually strip everything down, the people that, for example, the one that no one ever judged, maybe because we was young, but High School Musical 2, say this all the time. Gabriella is a villain, and Sharpay is like a good woman.
Troy was just trying to better himself.
He's trying to better himself.
Yeah.
Really deep it. What's happening? She got him a good place, got him a work experience, got him trying to level up, trying to get him to the NBA, and then she was moving to someone else. And like they all tried to exclude him and like, oh no, Troy's evil, like he's changing on us. And he had to come back and he had to let go of his work experience.
Sharpay's a bit dodgy though.
Why?
I don't know, man. It's just a bit dodgy. She got dodgy
and that's how Disney got you. Exactly my point.
Okay, we've broken the ice. We're friends now.
Intended.
And what we're going to do is move into the main topic of today's episode. So the main topic is our top 3 greatest shows of all time.
Tasty.
Greatest shows of all time. And what we're going to do is probably I feel like it makes sense for us to discuss what we think makes a show great. So we'll start off with that.
Okay.
So Shemi, I'll start with you this time. What do you think makes it? You have to reveal your top 3 yet.
Okay.
But what do you think makes a show great?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Off the dome, okay. What makes a show great? Longevity. I feel having longevity to some degree, because some things go for like 10 seasons, some things go for 5 seasons. But if it's only got 2 seasons worth of content to work with, you can't be putting it in GOAT categories. Personally, I think so.
Okay.
Also, how hooked it keeps you. I think like that ties into like engagement. So sometimes when we're watching a show live, collectively with Twitter and everything, everybody talks about it. I think that has a part to play with the show as well, like the discussion factor around it. I can't think off the top of my head, but I think just the engagement and also cliffhangers, like how hooked it has you. And I think that's the same thing, right?
No, I kind of get you.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if it leaves the amount of suspense it gives, it just depends what you like. But I can only justify it when I'm revealing my top 3.
Okay, fine. Okay,
I mean? That makes I hear
okay,
you.
fine. Just a little teaser for your top 3. Gaz, what are we thinking? What makes a show great?
I think one of the things, it leans into your point, releasing releasing episodes weekly, because I think it ties into the point you made about conversation and allowing time for.
You're not a binge watcher.
I am. I can do it. I binge watched The Bear. for example.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Well, so do you prefer binge watching or you prefer like shows when they spread it spaced out?
Every week.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Give me it weekly, man.
I'm the same. Let me sit with it.
Give me time to talk to my friends about it. Give me time to digest it because, for example, there's been shows that I've watched and my opinion has changed based upon how I've watched it. And then obviously the typical like great writing but as you said, when I discuss my top 3, it will kind of lean into your question about what makes a great show, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm going to throw one in there. I really think a show is great when it makes me care about the side characters almost as much or maybe
That
even
is a
more
very-
as the main
Can we clap that?
characters. We clap, we can clap. We're going to clap as well.
That is a
that
very
a
good
lot.
point.
Yeah, I want you to make me care. Like even if, so let's say like a side character's not in a particular episode, I want to be wondering how come they weren't in it. Like,
That's
I
a
kinda
very
missed
good.
it,
That's a
even
very
though they're
good.
a
I've
side
never even heard
character.
that before.
Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
That's an
You're
experienced podder right there.
Yeah, man, serious.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Wow.
So we're gonna move into. We'll start with number 3. We'll work our way up to the best one.
Okay.
Work our way up. I'll start.
Okay.
I'll start. I'll give you
Taste
guys.
it.
Yeah, I'll give you guys some thinking time. So on my list of greatest shows of all time, for me personally, alright. Number 3, just making it clear.
Just so you guys know.
Yeah, just so you guys know. Number 3 for me is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is my number 3, and I'm gonna give some justification for that.
All right, go on.
This is going to be a fun afternoon.
Just so that everyone just remains calm. So it's in my number 3 because I think, so I'm not a fantasy kind of girl. Like it's not I tried to watch Lord of the Rings when people said it was like one of the best films ever. I just couldn't get into it. It's not really my vibe. Game of Thrones had all this hype. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to try and get into it.
And did you start?
Yeah.
I think I started so there were 3 seasons out.
So you started season 4 more or less, like coming in.
Season 3. So 2 seasons were out.
Okay.
And I started, so I like binge watched all of them and then started watching with everyone else. And it grabbed me straight away. And I was shocked because I was like, well, this is weird because it's not really my usual kind of vibe. But I think, one, it had great writing. I think so kind of what I said about the side characters in that there were no side characters in Game of Thrones. Like, you didn't even know who until the end, I guess, where you don't really know who the main character that I thought was the main character died in season 1. So you didn't know who was the main character. You kind of like got to know all of them. But it's going 3. That sounds like it should be like amazing and it's like the best show ever. But of course, that final season was not good. And therefore, I'm putting it at number 3.
Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it was literally on like such a good trajectory. It was going up. Writing was great. Casting was great. Characters were great. Everything was good. And then it kind of just...
Nosedived.
Yeah. So that's why I'm going. I'm going number 3
Tasty.
for that.
How do you defend this without revealing my order?
Go get creative.
All I'm gonna say is this: how did you went from so final season was season 7 or 8? 8.
Yeah.
So from season 1 to 7, how did you feel?
I felt like this is one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Okay, so something went from being number 1 of all time in however long you are, but because of that one season, it's dropped to 3.
Yeah.
I can let me hear your 1 and 2 for me to because
Okay, fine. We'll reconvene once we get to the end. But yeah, that's my number 3.
The only thing I'll say is that I think season 1 to 4 was elite, and I saw a slight drop off after season 4.
Agreed.
But it wasn't a steep enough drop off in comparison to
other shows.
Other shows and the back end of season 7 and 8.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, got you.
You see a big shift in the way the show was written and the way characters were written in the first half.
So I thought,
to the
you know,
second.
when you're watching shows, like shows that have like loads of seasons, usually they do a thing where the writing gets a little bit convoluted anyway once you get to like season 5, season 6, naturally, because they've got too many things going on and they're trying to wrap things up. But it then spikes up again because like all the passion's gone into the end. And that, when it didn't happen, that's when I was like, wow.
That's a good point. But that's a very good point, actually. But we all know, like, it was... They tried to align with the books, obviously.
Yeah.
And the thing of, they all kind of agreed, gentleman's agreement, that it'll go to 10.
Yeah.
And it got to 8. So it's kind of like they found out it's going to be cut to 8 by season 5.
Yeah, there's definitely
so it's
other
like,
factors.
they were just rush writing. I don't know if that's a term, but they were literally just scribbling. And if you really deep, from 1 to 5, just the way time happens in shows, time's quite consistent. So in certain shows, a day could be 2 episodes. But in Game of Thrones, like, a voyage could be like a whole season. It could be traveling.
Yeah.
Do you get? But we got to literally
Daenerys was
6,
traveling
7
for
for
time.
Yeah, she
time.
was.
For time.
Yeah.
But you literally got to season 7 and 8, and she'd get on the boat.
Yeah,
She's
and
at
then all
King's
the time.
Landing.
Yeah.
She's at King's Landing. So you can tell. So there's literally evidence in how fast they was scribbling towards the last 2 seasons. But I still don't. I hear where you're coming from, basically. But 3, okay.
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 Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you, what's your number 3 on your list? Greatest shows of all time.
Can I say some of my contenders, please? I want to give them a shout.
You want to shout them out? Okay, go for it. Go for it.
So Succession is a contender for me.
Okay.
I love the slow burning nature of the show.
Okay.
And the use of satire and comedy to also tell a story of complicated family issues alongside like big media conglomerates who control the narrative and can decide what the narrative is at any moment. The quality of the acting was superb. Season 4 was one of the best seasons of television I think I've seen personally. I thought season 4 was amazing. Tom and Shiv, Kendall, Roman, those great characters. And the characters that you hate and you hate to love and you love to hate, I think that's how I felt about them the more the show went on. But I can't put it in my top 3 because I think it needs more time. Season 4 only came out this year?
Yeah,
I think
this
this
year.
year.
6,
I think
7
it's
months.
this year,
6
yeah.
months, 4 months.
So it needs more time and it needs more rewatch value in my opinion. But I think it has it. Another contender I think is Daredevil. And this is like a rogue one, isn't
Oh.
it? This is a rogue one. This is rogue. Yeah, hear me out. It's one of my favourite shows ever, by the way, yeah. You see my excitement? Crazy. like a comic book series for me is so hard for me it's hard to make someone engrossed in a comic book series, especially in recent times anyway, with like the fatigue and stuff. I've rewatched that show so many times and it has so many great themes in terms of like religion, family, love, vigilantism, and the duality of like the character of Daredevil and Matt Murdock. Loved it. The darkness of it, the cinematography, the action fight scenes, insane. Oh, that series is great. And hopefully Marvel don't mess it up when they do Daredevil Born Again, because I'm really excited for Charlie Cox to return. But let's get to it. My third is Friends.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
My third is Friends. Yeah.
I really like that.
My third is
Yeah.
Friends.
Shemi's dying.
My third is Friends. It wasn't one that I happily put in, but I think I could rewatch Friends time and time and time again. And you made the point when you came on the pod and you said if you had to rewatch one show continuously and you was just
that's my
stuck in a loop, I think Friends is a show I could rewatch time and time again.
Yeah.
At peace. I don't think the acting is necessarily.
Shem is dying.
No, I'm not dying. I'm just like, I'm listening because I'm trying to hold on to Gaz's every word. And go on.
I think it's hilarious.
Same.
I think it has some of the funniest, especially Ross has some of the funniest moments in a sitcom. Him alone. And I can tell he wrote a lot of those jokes and he wrote a lot of those comedic moments. And him and obviously RIP to Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
I thought he was phenomenal in the first 3-4 before Monica anyway. He was jokes. And then obviously love struck him and he wasn't as funny. It's fun.
Happens.
We love love. It's fun. But yeah, I just think it's just a show I can watch time and time again. It's hilarious. It had heartfelt moments as well. I think back to like Monica and Chandler when I think she was going to propose and then he kind of had to propose in the end. That's the scene in the house.
Yeah, with the candles. Yeah.
One of the funniest scenes ever is Phoebe and Chandler when they're flirting together in Chandler's apartment.
Yeah.
Amazing scene. Ross with the tight.
Oh my god, the leather trousers.
The leather trousers.
Yeah.
Ross with the
Good
tan.
scene.
I think back to obviously Pivot. There's some just Pivot is one of the greatest television moments of all time. So yeah, for me, Friends is number 3. I think my number 3 wouldn't be the same in like 2 years' time. I think something like Succession would end up being in there, if I'm honest with you, because I love that show. And I also think Breaking Bad is a show that I thought about. I did think about Breaking Bad, so I know people might like, why is Breaking Bad not? I haven't watched that show in so many years. So I think I need to watch it with fresh eyes, like the 2023 version of me, rather than when I watched it at the first time. So
Okay. So,
talk to me, brother.
No, I was on my phone because I was trying to like rejig my memory on the TV app that I have, all the things I've watched. And sitcoms. I don't know. Friends, I'm just not here for it because I think there's things that's funnier. Personally, unpopular opinion as well, I think How I Met Your Mother's funnier than Friends to me. I also think Modern Family is funnier than both of them.
I think Modern
I
Family.
think Modern Family is very, very funny.
I think
it fell off.
Friends, I don't think. Fair enough. I think to put Friends in a top 3, like it's not clear of other things. So Modern Family, I think, if you say you prefer Modern Family, say like it's neck and neck. But
I think that comes down to preference.
Yeah, that's a preference. But also, I'm also someone who don't really like rewatching things. I don't rewatch things that much.
Really?
So when you said the rewatching thing, I was like, fair enough. If I could go back to it, if it's a show, that means it must be really, really good. But
that's mad. You don't rewatch this.
Not that much. Not that much.
I literally just
the top 3 shows
yesterday.
The top 3 shows that I can. The top 3 I can rewatch them, except one really. But the other 2 I can rewatch. But Friends, I don't know, that really threw me off. But Breaking Bad, I agree with you. That's one I can't rewatch. That's why it can't be my top 3.
Okay.
I think the stillness of the show is one of those things that you just wish you'd never watched. Like, and in terms of like, you know it's good, but you can't watch it again. You just wish you were watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, okay,
that's that type of show. There's several shows that could have made the top 3 that I was like, when I was drafting this, I was thinking, I think one of the best shows, but like Succession's good, but I can't put it there. One of the best shows that couldn't get in my top 3 because it's quite recent. I didn't want to use recency bias. And I don't like this whole, like, it's a black show. It's just a good show. It's Snowfall. I think Snowfall is one of the best shows. Like, it could, if we were doing the top 5 in about 5 years' time, I think Snowfall would be in my top 5.
Season 4, though.
Yeah.
And then, but when people say that, what I'm going to say is, name a show
that doesn't have
a dip.
Weaker,
like one season doesn't have a dip.
I'm with you, brother.
Do you get what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. But I think Snowfall should be in. If Snowfall was anyone's top 3, I wouldn't be mad, but I couldn't because of recency bias. But my 3rd one is The Wire.
Okay.
I think it took me long to watch this because everyone's like, just watch The Wire. And I watch a lot of shows. But watching The Wire, I'm so fascinated when when directors can make a show that's not really about anything, but it's about a lot. And that's what I get with The Wire. And so much so that when a show is that good, I watch the YouTube clips on the show. And like when you watch the themes about each season being so different and how it's specifically just about Baltimore, obviously not from there, but like you're just so locked in.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain, to sell The Wire to someone because you can't explain what it's about.
I disagree, you know. I think I could do it.
You think so?
I think so.
Do you reckon?
100%.
Right, go. You got 30 seconds.
I can't.
Well, then what are you really saying, guys?
Because there might come a time where I might be able to do so.
Oh, okay. But what I'm trying to say is what's the show about? It's just without saying it's about Baltimore. So okay, so why can't we do one about London, about Kent or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's just so.
One thing I agree with you. Sorry, they made Baltimore a character.
Yes,
they made Baltimore a character.
Yeah.
And you felt like you was in Baltimore, like you felt immersed in that.
So many moving pieces as well in that show.
Yes,
so many moving pieces, and I can go back and watch that. That's one of the shows I can actually. I can go back and watch it. Yeah, I can go back and watch it in the pandemic. How many shows did I rewatch in the pandemic? It's one of them. But that's my number 3.
Fantasy casting.
Ooh.
Okay. So for this one, what you have to do is you have to choose either a TV show or a film, a classic one that we like everyone in the room will know. Choose a classic TV show or a film and suggest some, preferably a little bit older one, and suggest some modern actors for the main cast. And we will tell you whether we like it or not.
Okay. American Gangster is a film I love. Who could play Denzel today? I think Damson could do it, you know, but that's kind of cheating because you just said Damson. But I think Damson would be really good.
I think that's okay.
As what's his name? Frank Lucas. So good actually. Who else could play that role? Yeah, I'm gonna go Damson. I think the career trajectory that he's on, he's shown that he can lead a show on his own, on his own back. Obviously with a great supporting cast. He's played a similar-ish role before, so I don't want to typecast him, but you're being typecast as it stands. Hold that. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see him on the movie screen. I can't think of any movies he's done.
He did that one where it was like in army gear and no one ever watched it.
I watched Farming, Farming,
okay.
but that was like really small release.
Okay. Who's the rest of the cast? Who could play his wife? Hmm.
She has to be like Hispanic.
I don't think Zendaya's got the range, you know. No, she does actually. She was amazing in Euphoria. That's cap, but I thought she was great in Euphoria.
No, she was. No, I'm saying that to when you said she ain't got the range. I think she's good.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I thought she's
capping.
good.
Yeah, she's good for it
I
still.
completely retract that straight away. I loved Euphoria. First 2 seasons. Second one was a bit shaky. Yeah, I mean, he goes in there. Easy.
Okay, fine. So after our little short break playing this stunning spin the wheel, we are going to move into the top 2.
Oh.
Top 2. So I'll start.
You
again.
start.
I'll start. I'll give you my second one, which is funny because we actually discussed it at length, and obviously you guys didn't know it was going to be my second one. So now I'm going to have to justify it against what you guys were saying about it. But my second one, top 2 shows of all time, is Succession.
Interesting.
Oh, I thought it was Friends.
No, it's Succession.
I like this.
Yeah, I'm going with Succession for number 2, despite, like we said, like it only finished this year.
Oh, it's fine. I like this.
And there probably is a little bit of recency bias in that it's easy for me to remember how much I loved it because it's literally just this year.
You've got a fan on board.
But I have put it there because I think that it has everything that I require from a show. So it has really, really good writing. I love a slow burner.
It's a slow burner.
I absolutely love a slow burner. Like I want...
Do you like Breaking Bad?
I absolutely love Breaking Bad.
fair
Like I love a slow burner.
So
why
is Succession better than Breaking Bad?
Is it?
Oh.
So,
okay,
love
why
a
is
slow burner.
Okay, why I'm gonna challenge this now. So why is no, because I like Succession, but there's some shows I'll put in the same bracket that I don't know if it's better than. But I do think Succession's writing and it's so well thought about. And if you go into how they use cameras, is insane. But why is it better than Ozark?
So for me,
Ozark overrated, by the way. Just find that out there.
Ozark, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. But I think that the writing in Succession, the slow burning nature, they both have slow burning nature, but I think the writing in Succession is better.
Okay.
And when you're doing a slow burning series, the writing is too important.
Yeah.
Or else I'm just going to turn off. It's why people say things like, "Oh, I can never get past the first episode. Or I can never get past," because you don't care. And with Ozark, I started to be a bit like, "Oh, come on, shut up, man."
Yeah.
Like, whereas with Succession, I was actually like, "No, I'm into. I want to know what happens."
And I also think there's a realism to Succession which supersedes what Ozark
Ozark's
could
fake.
be. You can only imagine Ozark going to a certain extent, and I think those type of shows have the trouble where it becomes a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those things don't happen. It's not my world, so I don't know.
Yeah, but at least I know what you mean. Succession is just rooted in just rich white people,
and I cared about
they're a thing.
Unfortunately, I cared about some of those characters, and they're absolute pieces of. Can I swear? Am I allowed to? They're pieces of shit.
But I like that though. I like
when
Succession.
So who's your favorite character?
Why was I rooting for Kendall? Why was I rooting for Kendall?
It's a question.
Kendall's insane.
Kendall's
He's
insane.
so insane. He's
a
troubled,
sicko.
right? He's troubled. He's there's so many things wrong with him. But I was watching it and I was like, oh,
Why?
please, Kendall, like, come on, man, let him come out on top.
Who's your favorite character?
You know, it really, Greg.
Greg. To be fair, Tom was actually my favorite character.
It's safe to go. Ooh.
Tom was
it's safe to
actually
go with Greg,
character.
but Greg and Logan are by far my favorite characters. Logan, I just respect it so much.
I think Greg is a character on that show that kind of epitomizes who we could all be. I think he was always a bit of a piece of shit.
I think if you're a black person in that show, like the position you can like just worming your way in, you have to be like a Greg.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you have to be like maybe that's why we can align with it.
Used the whole,
he didn't deserve to be there.
Family link that he had with them, even the whole what was his job really?
Nothing. It's a family member.
He just made it up.
He was either Tom's lapdog or Kendall's lapdog.
He just made it up. He didn't have a role in the business. He didn't actually do anything. Like he just used that tenuous link. And
the worst character in that whole program is Shiv.
Shiv's horrendous. Yeah, she's actually awful.
But I like how they kind of gave us an idea as to why these characters are the way they are, because their parents are horrible. Their parents are horrible.
I wish they did flashback episode.
I really like though as well that there's no flashbacks.
Flashback. I wanted one.
But it's almost like I can see what their childhood was like.
I don't think I needed it.
One because the writing was so good.
Think about the way Shiv was explaining the way the dynamic hates her mum. Roman used to speak quite often about
what they did to him as a child.
He was abused.
Their mum was an amazing character in terms of like the way.
In and out.
Oh my god, she was so good.
Yeah.
So I just think the fact that it made me like, it's almost like, because they weren't young, they were like 40, right? Like let's say like Kendall. Let's take Kendall. He was like 40. It's almost like I'd seen like 25 years of his life, but I hadn't. I'd seen like 2. I'm gonna go to Shem for your second one, number 2.
Now, this may seem a bit like wayward, but the man behind the camera, they know already.
I love the introductions.
The best. The best. This is the second best show to touch TV, and anything you swap. I hope you guys have watched it. It's Desperate Housewives. So,
oh my God,
Desperate Housewives is the second best show to touch TV. 1, the longevity. 2, the balance of cliffhangers. 3, and every season, like the character development. It's these 4 women. The character development of each character is insane, and then you watch their kids grow through the show. There's cliffhangers like every episode, and at the end of every season, they've how many? I think it was 8 seasons. It was 8 seasons, and that's when you got the week to week thing. But I also binge watched it as well, so I can go back and watch it, and you can pick up. I just think it's so good. But the problem is, more often than not, it's not in a lot of people's memory because it's quite old, and I think 2012 is when it ended.
It had a good resurgence when it came back on. I think it was on Prime in lockdown.
Yes, they put it on Amazon.
And then it had like a nice
and it went in Disney or Amazon. I can't remember. It's Disney.
Now it's on Disney. I think.
Yeah,
it had a good resurgence. I think Desperate Housewives is a great.
It's a great show.
Oh, okay, never seen it.
It's go and watch it. You will be rattled.
It's one of those shows that my mum would have watched, and I would like see bits of an episode.
I used to watch it with my mum, so that was my like. Almost like hack to stay up later. If, like my mum was watching something, and my dad used to work nights. If my mum was watching something in the living room, I'd be like, "Oh, what's Gabby doing today?"
Go and watch every episode. It's like every episode is just like it's so good. It's like it's great storytelling.
It is really
even old school with a narrator at the top of it as well. It's just it's so good. And then obviously when you get into the latter season, it stops being about what happened in Wisteria Lane and more so about the characters.
Gaz.
All right, cool.
Number 2, go for it.
It's a show that's already been mentioned, but I'm going to give my particular reasons why I think it's the second best show of all time. And it definitely has its faults. Game of Thrones.
Thanks for watching an episode of Silver Screen Society. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that. Bye.